Hi, teachers. I'm Victoria Carlton. I'm going to just chat to you briefly about a practice that I use with children to help them to organise their thinking. And they can apply this to all different parts of their work. And it's called mind mapping. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's been used for years, but it's one of those practices that I just find that every year I'm using it with kids because it really does work. And I often use it in lots of different ways, but I want to share a few ideas to perhaps convince you to have another go at it if you haven't done it for a while. It's particularly good with really creative thinkers, kids who tend to think very visually. All right. And I seem to have a lot of those kids. So I teach this within my STAR program, which is all about students at risk. So I'm just going to share a few slides and a few ideas here. Okay. So let's have a look here. All right. So what is it? It's basically, it's a system for generating and organizing thoughts and information. And really there are rules. Mind mapping was put together by Tony Buzan many years ago. There are some sort of guidelines, but there's no absolute rules. So it's really up to you the way that you want to do it, and also up to children as well. But it's so good for organizing learning. It's so good for high school students for organizing their assignments as well. And I'm finding it about this time of the year, it's a really helpful practice to help kids to be able to look at what they've learned. It's towards the end of the term at the moment, and mind map what have you learned. It's a way of revising all of that information in all the different subject areas. Also, it's fun because it's so visual as well. And the kids can be using, stickers and glitter and all sorts of things. So I tell the kids that I'm going to be teaching them a wonderful whole brain method of learning that's going to use both sides of the brain, and it's going to make thinking and learning a bit easier for them. And I also tell them that everyone does it. I do it regularly. I'm not very good at drawing, so I draw, very simple sorts of diagrams. I tend to rely more on the words and the pictures, and I use a lot of colors when I'm mind mapping as well. But that's okay. If it works for me, that is okay. So, what you want the kids to do is to be innovative, to use the symbols that they like to use. And I quite like the kids to have their own little blank book where they can do their mind mapping in there. So the mind maps look very different. So after reading a book called A Mountain That Loved a Bird, I got the kids to do some mind mapping for comprehension. And you can see that kids interpreted it lots and lots of different ways. Then this is after doing a non-fiction book called The Firefighter. This is by a child who absolutely hated writing, was sure that he couldn't write at all, but because he was such a good visual thinker, he was able to mind map the story, and then he was able to write quite a few paragraphs as well. So it's a process. Mind mapping is a process that really works for everyone. This was done by a child after hearing the life story of Leonardo da Vinci. This child was particularly moved by this story. And you can see he has chosen not to use any colours. That's fine. I don't argue with the children about this. I just provide ideas and see what they want to do with it. So have a go at it yourself. Try maybe daily planning, planning events. If you're doing any studying, it's good for revision. I often mind map just to look at different ways of teaching different areas of the curriculum. And the thing is, there are some just main ways to teach it. And I just want to go through the things that I tell children. So I just ask them, the first time we do it, we have a large piece of blank paper, usually A3, and we'll have a subject. It might be, what would you like to do during the holidays? Or what have we learned about this subject, whatever it is, or maybe a certain book that we've studied together. So we get a big piece of blank paper, and the kids draw in the middle a picture that represents the topic that we are writing or thinking about, and then they write the topic inside the image. This is how we start off. Then we have thick lines, very thick. I give them good textures, radiating out from the image. all right, each line a different colour. And these are the main ideas. Then we link other ideas to those main ideas, and I ask the kids to try and do a picture or a symbol for each word. We often look at clip art and symbols as well, because this just helps the kids, some of the kids who are not so visual, to think in terms of symbols. All right. Sometimes we use stickers as well. I've got quite a big collection of stickers that we can use. So I try to keep the kids to keep their ideas, each main branch, separated from another main branch, but I also want them to see the association between ideas and to draw bridges with their colours to show that as well. Some of the kids get really involved in this. They really love to make their mind maps look beautiful. And I found that some kids like to actually redraw their mind maps as well. That's fine. It's just a great way of organising materials. It's fun, it works, and it really does help the kids to actually think, to really think clearly and to think with symbols, but also with words as well. So give it a try. It will work for most kids. And the thing is that, these brains behind me on this wallpaper, all right, basically they all look the same. But as we know, kids think so differently. And mind mapping is a way of letting children think differently, but also being able to concentrate on the information and being able to read it and remember it, retain it as well. Okay, thanks. Give mind mapping a go. I tell you, it really does work. Okay, bye. Have a fantastic day.
For more of Victoria Carlton's tips, go to YouTube and search Victoria Carlton Programs. Victoria's products are available on Teachers Pay Teachers. They cover literacy, emotional intelligence, and Sunday school lessons. Victoria's website address, blog, and email address are on the screen in front of you. Victoria Carlton reserves the right of copyright on all her products.